Where are we now?
We got people from all around the world tuning in.
Yeah?
Okay. We got Krista Trail at Marc live. And then we got people on YouTube, people on Riverside.
No.
And we're good.
Twitter?
Twitter's loading at the moment. We got 30 people in the lobby.
Remember, Ron DeSantis was like 40 minutes late for a live stream last year, and it was like the pinnacle of his campaign. And then it all went south. Remember how good it was?
Yes.
And I don't think it was the bad live stream sent him down.
You know,
So
it can happen. When you deal with technology.
There are probably people asking for refunds right now. No, this is a multifaceted thing, getting it on all the socials.
There's a few people in the audience who should be speakers. They might have taken the wrong link to get here.
Yeah, did you? It looks like you sent the right link, Marc.
Marc, could you?
I took the right link, but I think Praveen and Dr. Tankersley might be in the audience.
Let me see if I can invite them onto the stage.
Okay, are we hard live though now?
Do you want to be?
Yeah.
You are.
Okay. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Live from the Joseph S. Koury Convention Center and the Sheraton Four Seasons Hotel in Greensboro, North Carolina, the heart of Carolina, the center of the East Coast, and the host place for the Cosmic Summit 2024.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is. And one of the most exciting things about this, which has been a personal privilege and something of a nice synchronous thing in my life, that when we got done with Asheville last year, we had Cosmic Summit 2023 up in Asheville, North Carolina. We had a 400-person room, and it went very, very well, or we would not be doing this again. And it went well enough that I said, we need a bigger room. And frankly, I'd like a little more hospitality. The hotel was nice as it could be, but Asheville can be a little uppity. I'm just saying. And I said, well, where would be a hospitable, large place in North Carolina, perhaps more centrally located? And I said, well, perhaps the Koury family and my friend Kelly Harrill can make accommodations for us at their 28-story hotel on I-95. And this
85.
is 85. Yeah, I don't want to send people down the wrong artery.
Just want to make sure they know where to go.
Exactly. They end up in Smithfield, right?
Yes.
That's right. But I've got with me Kelly Harrill, who is the CEO of the hotel operation of the Greater Koury Corporation here in Greensboro. And I'd like to introduce Kelly. I've known him my whole life.
Yeah.
We were high school buddies.
Sure were.
High school buddies with his wife, his sister-in-laws, another brother-in-law.
Yes.
It is a Greensboro family if there ever was.
It is.
And tell us about the history of the Koury Corporation, the facility. Kelly, I'm sure you've done it 1,000 times in your career, but tell us what we got here in Greensboro.
Yeah, well, first, George, thank you so much for this opportunity. Amazing.
Thank you.
You know, speaking to all of our local friends and family, they're so excited to be able to host Cosmic 2024.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We are honored to be able to host all of the guests from around the world that'll be traveling our way to be a part of this. As you said, we are a local family-owned business. We are owned by a family that has been in the hospitality business since 1950. And we've learned how to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Our founder, Joe Koury, who the convention center is named after, was a Lebanese immigrant.
Yeah.
Parents came through Ellis Island.
Yeah.
Literally started with nothing.
Yeah.
And built an amazing company with a lot of grit and a lot of fortitude.
Yeah.
Nothing was given to them.
Yeah.
And he started a small construction company and built it and ended up building 10,000 homes after World War II in Greensboro.
Yeah.
Built the first Holiday Inn in North Carolina, sitting on this very spot.
Which used to be right here.
Right
because it's gone through an evolution.
It has.
Your whole assemblage.
It has. Through the years, we've continued to add space and to add rooms. And we changed from a Holiday Inn flag many years ago, almost 20 years ago, to a Sheraton flag, still independently owned, still operated by the family. And it's an amazing place to host an event, George. I mean, just to kind of give you some of the details.
Please tell us.
It's a, it's a 1,000-room hotel.
Yeah.
250,000 square feet of meeting space, 72 breakout rooms, 70 suites, auditoriums, 2 restaurants, 3 bars, a cafe, a great coffee shop. And the neat thing about it is, and the reason that we've been so successful through the years, is that we are able to contain everything under one roof.
Yeah.
And the important part, I think, for all of your guests with Cosmic Summit coming is that because the hotel rooms and the meeting space is all under one roof, that when in the evening things kind of come to an end in terms of the breakout rooms and the general sessions, people are still here in the lobby. They're not having to leave and go to their hotel. So the relationships build in the evening in the lobbies, and the conversations continue. So
that is absolutely the truth. I went to a lot of conferences in my career.
Yeah.
And there was a big difference between the ones that had a 5-minute walk to your hotel or a 10-minute walk, or sometimes a 15 or 20-minute walk from your convention center.
Right.
That is not the case here.
It is not the case here. And the great thing is, especially with all of our various room types, we've got over 650 doubles.
Yeah.
The rest are kings and suites. We have 70 suites. Maybe I mentioned that.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to have some additional space to do anything, we'll have that opportunity for them available. But again, it goes back to having all of those pieces all under one roof. And then just surrounding the area too, we are only a few steps away from a 200-store super regional shopping mall. We're getting some feedback.
It just switched about 20 seconds ago so that we can. But we've got to hear ourselves to hear their questions.
I think Randall joined it. It's echoing here.
Hello, Randall Carlson. I need to hide all. Well, I'm glad it's an informal live stream. That's the thing I always remind myself again and again about media these days.
Sure.
It's informal. And everybody's out there giving PowerPoints in their own lives, and things are always messing up and bad Zoom calls. Hey, it scales up.
Absolutely.
We're still a beginner operation. Hey, Randall. It sounds like you may need to meet, man. I hate that because you're one of the people I like to hear most from. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, let us continue on about the facility some and tell them what we got planned. One thing you didn't mention, which is great, it gives me a hook now, is the room that we're in.
Right.
And there's a whole lot of space in this room, but they have carved out one mammoth, beautiful event space with a Broadway stage on which we're sitting right now. And I'd heard that term Broadway stage, but then somebody pointed out to me it means it's plug and play. We don't have to bring all the stuff in, right? You've got people operating the equipment that have operated it for years and years and years.
Correct.
And then you've got a very configurable, largest space of its kind in the region.
It is. It's actually the largest ballroom between Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. And it's a 40,000 square foot ballroom. That's divisible by 7, so the air walls can be pulled in a configuration that makes sense for how you're going to set up your general session and other breakout rooms in the room as well. So yes.
Man, I'm so excited to get into that stuff. We got ideas about how we're going to put it together, but we got a full 6 months. I would like within 45 days to know exactly. And I don't think the audience much cares, but from the organizer side, you want it to be nice for them. And figuring out the flow, and I'm a newbie at this, but I seek professional advice. We're going to figure out the flow. And a big part of the flow this year people need to be mindful of. Last year we did a one-stage operation,
Right.
where we had 16 speakers or so speak on one stage over 2 days. What we're going to do this year is we're going to take the hundreds of people we get. Shoot, this room will take up to 5,000, but we'll have hundreds and who knows, maybe even 1,000 people. Let's just work with 1,000 if we're so lucky and so blessed. Right? First of all, they only take up a quarter of the room. So we're going to have to put them in a box, or they're going to feel like they're sitting out in the middle of a basketball court. It looks like a gigantic basketball court. We're going to show it to you in a minute. But we're going to put it in a box, and then we're going to have a couple of other boxes very nearby, so that when the point being, we're going to split into 2 tracks, so we can double the number of speakers, right? That's the whole reason you do that, and also make it maybe a little bit more intimate. And it gives you other options. Well, we've got an endless amount of options we do. We want to take advantage of the space. Who knows? Maybe we open a 3rd track if the conference is very successful even, and we say, okay, we've got a little bit more budget. We can bring in some more speakers. It's a virtuous cycle if we can start getting ticket sales. Oh, ticket sales. I've failed to mention the purpose of the call, haven't I? Well, ticket sales are important to a speaker conference.
Yes, it is.
And
Kind of starts there.
start there. And I'm already spending the money, mind you. And I learned that last year you can even screw it up and it'll work out. But I don't want to go through that again. But selling tickets, here's why we're here today. This is the launch of 3 new tickets, but it is the demise of 1 ticket. It is the demise of the Atlantean ticket. Okay, and the Atlantean ticket, Kelly, is where for a Timex price, you're going to get a Rolex experience.
Okay.
Because if you're an Atlantean, and I think we bumped the tickets up, maybe, I'm not going to say, we got 20 left officially, maybe we got another 30 after that can be Atlanteans. Sold about 70 or more tickets.
Wow.
And which is just fine, folks. When I was talking about, not selling any, I think we're going to do fine on this with your help. So we got these tickets and we call them Atlantean because they're before, right? Okay. And if you were brave enough to be before and up front of the line, then you're going to get the benefits of the top ticket level, which I will name in a moment. But first I want to name the 3 general admission tickets. I guess you call them that in a way. That are going to go on sale today. And then we'll get back to Atlantean. The first ticket is the megafauna. And Beckett, when you get a chance, if you could call up our ticket types, we'll do that a little bit later. And you got the megafauna ticket, and you can see that on the website at cosmicsummit.com. It is beautiful. We hired the greatest artist named Dal-E or something like that. Yeah, and they said,
Sounds like a good name.
It's an AI. I don't know whether what that is, what kind of credentialing that is, but it's an AI. It's a wonderful artist. And now we really worked on it. There's a lot of work to get in the AI straight, but we've drawn beautiful tickets. And I want you to go look at the first one, the megafauna.
Nice.
So that's the general admission is the megafauna. And even though that may sound like a herd, and it's going to be a little bit of a herd, you've got a first-class facility for megafauna, okay? Any buffalo would be happy to be in here, okay? And so that is $648. Okay, then you've got the Taurids. Okay, and for people in the know or people that will come and learn, the Taurids is what the Comet Research Group, which I'm a member of, believe was responsible for the demise of the megafauna. We're not trying to pit them against each other, but that just happens to be their roles in history. The Taurid meteor stream is a fragmenting comet which has been orbiting the sun for some 20,000 years, and sometimes it gives Earth a very, very bad day. Now, twice a year, we have regular interactions with the Taurids, and it's a nice little shooting star show, but sometimes it gets really ugly. Then we have a third ticket. You've got the megafauna, the Taurids, and finally we have the Anunnaki. And for those in the know,
Sounds serious.
the Anunnaki are the watchers. They are the Sumerian gods of before that still control things, though keep distant, I suppose. Okay? And that's a super VIP. But here's the hook. Those that buy the Atlantean ticket now, Kelly, and they'll be gone today, will get Anunnaki benefits. Okay. Which is going to include things like very priority seating, reception, opportunities with the speakers. Get to give Randall Carlson a foot rub.
Hey,
I'm getting better and better here, right?
you really thought this through.
They're going to have a gift bag, et cetera, and so forth. And we're developing the VIP benefits. They're kind of in motion, but you can see those populated. But I promise you, it's going to be a fantastic experience. And if we have a whole lot of people, I want to make sure that those people really do get an up-close experience.
Yeah.
And that would include those who later become Anunnaki after today, and all of those that buy the rest of those pre-tickets. So that puts you up at a VIP level for a cheap.
Can expensive price. Ticket.
You're an Anunnaki. You're watching, brother. You're coming in, man. There should even be something above the Anunnaki, Kelly.
Now you're scaring me.
Whenever I send him stuff on the conference, I'll send him. I'm getting a little scared over here in Greensboro. What is he bringing to it? But here's a neat thing about Kelly. He's into our subjects. I mean, you kind of like this stuff.
You know, I was hooked at the Carolina Bays many years ago when you showed me some of those pictures, and from then on, it's been nothing but fascinating.
That's awesome, man. I didn't know that was the first thing. Now that's great you mentioned, because we have on the phone one of the great Carolina Bay experts of planet Earth, Mr. Chris Cottrell.
I'm looking forward to talking Carolina Bays with you, Kelly.
Yeah.
Good. Well, good. Maybe we can have a cocktail together, and you can go in deep subject with me on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. And I can hear you nice and crisp. I think the tech is working pretty good. One problem, I can't see everybody that's in the room. Somebody shoot some names. Who's joined us from the speaker crowd?
We got Luke, we got Chris, we got Marc, Adam Young, Randall.
George. We've got a
Hey,
couple
and
of
new speakers there. I want to
It-
concentrate a little bit on new speakers. I know we're trying to get Praveen Mohan in, right? And we're
Got a
working
few
them. We
speakers
had
in
a
the
multi-link
audience
go
who
out,
can't
probably
figure
my
out how
fault.
to join.
What's that, Mark? They're working on that behind the scenes, but we've got a pretty good crew here. And I heard one new speaker name that I wanted to point out, and it's Mr. Adam Young. And it might be a new name to people who are familiar with the work of Mr. Chris Dunn and Nick Sierra and Alex Dunn, along with, as publicized by Ben Van Kerkwijk from Uncharted X. And they have a project underway, to say the very least, where they're scanning pre-dynastic Egyptian vases and finding that they represent perfect math. That not only is their manufacture so perfect and precise and down to fractions of millimeters, like a thousandth of perfection, but then when you take the whole form of the vase, it represents geometry, which is quite profound. So they were both profound in their manufacture and profound in their understanding of mathematics, but that could not be revealed until somebody went and scanned these vases that have been sitting around.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And Adam is frankly, don't want to embarrass him, but a Wall Street guy living up in Manhattan, looking at this stuff in museums, and he becomes a collector. And then he said, I'm sure this is a long story short, maybe he can tell us a little bit about it, but he said, I'm going to scan these things. And he got Chris Dunn's team, who is a long-term high technology Egypt expert. They are also measurement people, to say the very least. Scanned the jars, revealed all this. And Adam, can you hear me? And are you online? I didn't mean to thrust you to the front of the live stream, sir, but how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah. And did I tell the story kind of right? Anything you want to add to that?
No, that's about right. We started about 10 years ago. I met Robert Schoch in Egypt almost 10 years ago. And through Chris Dunn and others, we kind of put together a team. We started, applying some metrology-based analytics to scan and, identify which artifacts are precise, and then actually digitize the STL files, or effectively they're CAD files where you have three-dimensional points in a cloud, and that'll allow us to not only do the work that we're seeking to do, but then turn it over. And we've kind of become known as a bit of an open source project, because our files and our work are freely available on, like Ben's website, for instance, on unchartedx.com. You can find some of the results of the work we've been doing over the past 5-6 years.
That's right. And it's extraordinary work. And it's something that you don't find in what I call of various names, heretical studies, because a lot of things we're saying are, rejected by the people who are supposed to be experts. And we're something of a heresy to say such things, and to say that there's a technologies that the Egyptologists are not aware of, disturbs them. But what this does, a lot of times when you hold the views like a lot of the people coming to the summit do, there's no way to prove it. There's no way to flat out prove it. A lot of this stuff can be very subjective,
Sure.
right? And depend on interpretation. And people are entitled to different interpretations. Well, no one is entitled to a different interpretation of the perfection of something mathematically, right? So this is objective information being produced for our community by Adam. And I think it's the most significant advance in these kind of studies since I've been hanging around in this stuff.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend, as Adam did, the videos at Uncharted X, and our good friend Ben Van Kerkwick, who couldn't be with us this morning, but sends his good wishes, and will be obviously a speaker this year, just as he was last year. Go back and look at his YouTube for last year from the Cosmic Summit webpage, if you like, and you can see the presentation he gave. And then since Adam is coming in this year, he can talk vases, and that frees Ben up to go talk about many of the other things that he's an expert at. So Adam will stick to that one. Who else do we have out there right now? Any more new speakers join? Hey, Tim Hogan, how you doing, buddy?
Loaded.
He's loading. Who else we got in here who I have not greeted? Mr. Luke Caverns, how you doing? Luke.
Hey there, how's it going? How's it going, guys? Thank you again for having me.
Good morning.
Now, Luke's a local boy. He's from Hendersonville,
Okay, just down the road.
just down the road. Lives in Texas. Anthropology graduate student, finished up. But Luke is an expert in Mesoamerican history, and he just returned from the jungle. And I'm talking serious jungle, not like tourist trip jungle like you and I have done. You know what I mean? Where they take you out there for a couple hours.
Sure.
He went deep, dark in it. And I last night listened to a podcast with he and two other speakers, the fabulous Snake Brothers of Mandera, Texas. And they did a show 2 episodes ago that was fabulous. And they met at the Cosmic Summit, which is cool to me. Right. And now they're doing content together. And the summit came up just in passing a number of times, which is always nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure, absolutely.
So they met there, and Luke was reporting back to the Snakes, as we call them, on his recent trip. How long you been back, Luke?
I've been back maybe like 2.5 weeks or so.
Yeah. About the time we got back from Turkey. All of us been traveling on, not Turkey, geez, India. And there were times in India where I'd rather been in a jungle, but we'll leave that for later. There were probably times in the jungle where you'd rather been in India. Okay. But that was a harrowing, some of that stuff. Y'all were out there. You were talking about what do you call that snake? The lance to whatever?
The fertilance.
Fertilance. That sounds like a nasty little critter right there, man.
Yeah, probably the most venomous snake on this side of the planet.
And then you said that, and I love when, a guy whose job is to crawl around in jungles, you're extremely fearful of snakes, right?
Well,
You said you've been having
that
nightmares.
snake. Yeah. Just
Maybe I was
that
good
snake. There are some things about it that make it particularly. Yeah, there's some things about it that make it particularly dangerous. But other snakes, I'm fascinated by them. But that little guy in particular scares me.
That's right. Now I remember you said that really what bothered you was that particular snake. Well, I tell you, that just must make it all the more exciting to be Luke Caverns.
It's exciting, I guess, if that's the word you want to use.
Yeah.
It's never
just
boring.
give us a little taste of what you did on that great long podcast that, again, I recommend at Brothers of the Serpent. Give us a little taste of what you came to understand about those architecture-filled jungles. Already as an expert, what did this latest trip just impress on you once again?
Well, certainly that the ancient cities that are out there are so much more vast and so much more numerous, and the estimated like orthodox population of the jungle, or of the ancient jungles of Mesoamerica, South America, and Mexico, I think that the estimated populations are far, far, far below what they actually are. And the research that I was doing down there seems to indicate, and I think that there's a good amount of people who are starting to agree with this, that the history just goes back so much further. That ties in a lot with the Olmecs that are in Veracruz, Mexico, and I'm going back in March to do a little more research there. And I haven't really announced this anywhere else, but I think my presentation at the Cosmic Summit is going to be over the megaliths of the Olmecs, and a lot of the similar mysteries that you see there. You see a lot of almost exactly the same mysteries there that you do in the transportation of the megaliths in Egypt. And there's even some iconography in the Olmec world that you see in the Middle East, and that you see at Göbekli Tepe as well.
Yeah, man. And y'all did a great job on that podcast walking through the evidence and the similarities that just aren't pointed out, but they're so very, very obvious. Give us the visual that you were seeing. Describe being on top of that pyramid. Tell us about that particular pyramid and what you see when you looked out over the canopy of jungle.
Well, okay, so there were two particular areas that I was at. I was at an ancient city called Bekan, and I was at an ancient city called Calakmul. And Calakmul is probably the one that gave me the most impression that. So when you're sitting up on top of the pyramid and you're looking out over the jungle canopy, you're in the Maya lowlands. So these are swamplands. So anytime you see a little hill raise up in the middle of the jungle, you know that you're looking at a giant pyramid.
Even though it's a green hill, it's nothing but vines
full of trees.
Yes, yes, it's unambiguously a pyramid, or a structure of some kind, usually some kind of pyramid. And the type of architecture there is so vast that no two pyramids are exactly the same. Every single pyramid.
But how many
has
would you
its
see
own
looking out
design.
across the jungle? Would you see more than one or two?
Oh God, no. I mean, I would estimate to say 50,000 pyramids in Mesoamerica.
No. But in your field of view, though, like when you were looking out,
in my field of views, definitely dozens. If you're sitting on top of a pyramid and you're looking around you, I would say you can visibly see the peak of dozens of pyramids, no matter where you're at.
People have never been to, essentially, that have never been studied.
Yeah. I mean, maybe people wandering around, just poking around, kind of like me. Maybe that. And so, especially on foot when you're walking around, you're stumbling over building after building after building. There was a time there where we walked around an area that was probably the size of a few football fields, and we came across 16 pyramids just in one little small area. So it's just the vastness of Mesoamerica can't possibly be overstated. It's just unbelievably dense. There's so much lost history there.
That's fantastic, Luke, man. We look forward to hearing more about it in June and between now and June, because we're going to do a lot of content. Some of you may know that I've got a new podcast called The Foxhole, and I actually let it lapse. And I do not want people, whatever small collection of fans there may have developed over the first 5, to think that I lost my footing. But I did for about a month and a half. And it's a long story, but I thought I was going to have kind of a podcast studio and all this kind of stuff. Didn't work out. I'm going to have it, but I was delaying things until I had things set up. And I'm going to fall back and I'm going to start really pumping it out. Point being that I want to have Luke on, and Luke's got a new podcast and he wants to have me on. What's the name? Temple Talk? Isn't it, Luke?
Yes. Yeah. So the podcast is going to go live. The podcast is going to go live in January, and it's called Temple Talk.
That's awesome, man. Well, we'll make sure to promote it at the Cosmic Summit.
Yes, sir.
Kelly, how much more time do you have? Because I wanted to show people the room. Yeah. And if you need to get out and do your things, Kelly's traveling today with his big, beautiful family and going down to the coast. which I would be doing if I wasn't doing this. And I'm kind of dragging you into my thing, keeping
It's all good. All good. I'm good on time.
Yeah.
Time.
You sure? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll keep you here for just a minute and let Beckett make sure we can take a look around the room, talk about a thing or two until we do it. But and then tonight, actually, I've got, because I'm from Greensboro, and I don't want to blow my opening line, but I'll go ahead and do it. That I had a party around here once.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. About 2.6 miles from here. Okay. In 1983. And
You're dating yourself, George.
this one better work out better than that one did, is all I know, man. Because everybody got pushed in the pool, stole all of my clothes. You know, people get out of the pool, they're in wet clothes. What do? I missed that whole part of it. They all went and raided my closet, took every thread of summer clothing I had. And then I would see my shirts around Greensboro. For years, I'd say, "You got my Gator shirt, my little Lacoste
We're going to
shirt."
protect you this time.
We're gonna protect it. It's going to be a better experience throwing this party. But like I say, I'm from Greensboro, and tonight I'm going to have some old buddies come over, and we'll have a big steak dinner and hang out here in the hotel. So it's going to be this is a work and pleasure day for me. What are we missing about facility? Oh, while we got you, just things we can talk about facility wise. That this has not been publicized yet. So this is a little bit of an announcement for people interested in coming to the Cosmic Summit. There are going to be 4 additional tickets opened for a 3rd day. So think of it this way. You're going to have the Cosmic Summit experience from last year on steroids, because you're going to have roughly twice the number of speakers. But one thing is, those people are still just speaking for an hour or so. Maybe give Randall 2 hours, and we certainly will. But some people need 6 hours. Some people need 8 hours. And some people are interested in hearing about one thing in a deep fashion. So we were blessed with the facility that actually has, please describe them to me, classrooms right off of this giant hall that we're in.
Right. So, surrounding the ballrooms, and we actually have 3 ballrooms, all of which break down to smaller pieces. So it makes it really easy to configure whatever size that you need. And then you've got, in addition to that, another 50 plus breakout rooms in various configurations, from auditoriums. You can set them any way you want. You can set them classroom, theater style, any way that it makes sense for whatever subject matter you're speaking on.
It's a Swiss Army knife of a hotel. It really is. And we'll have fun getting it set up just right. These classrooms, where at least some of those speakers will be in for that 3rd day, they're actually sunken lectern amphitheaters.
Right. Yeah, they are. There's 4 of them.
Yeah, there are 4 of them. Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
I was a little worried there were 3, because I'm now planning for 4 tickets. And this is going to get to you in a moment, Tim Hogan. So get ready to talk, and I'm going to turn to you. And Scott, if Scott is on. Have we heard from Scott or Haley? Oh, Scott and Haley. Is Haley on? Oh, okay. Well, we got 2 for 3. That's better than I could possibly hope. How you doing, Scott and Tim? Do y'all have audio? Y'all go ahead. I can, Tim. How are you, man? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, well, I understand, and you'll need, what I'm going to do is tell you what you're going to be doing. Okay, because I had a long talk with your brother in crime, Scott Wolter, yesterday, and gave him another rundown of what's being done. And you can still opt out, of course, but let me tell you what we got planned for you guys. The Templar story is a deep and complex story, and you guys are heroes for communicating it, because it cannot be summarized. And an hour don't do it, and 2 don't do it. So we're going to give that story its own classroom. Okay. Now, I've been a little bit concerned that people, and I'm going to solve that this year, may have thought that discussing the Knights Templar and their relation to America and ancient sea travel and whatnot would have been close to Cosmic Summit's central core of catastrophism and whatnot, but maybe was something we diverted to when we needed to replace some speakers last year. Au contraire, that what I would like, and they've got hours to deal with it, but as I was discussing with Scott, a lot of the Templar esoteric wisdom draws it, and I don't want to overspeak for these guys, but draws its understanding back to Atlantis or a precursor civilization or someone that was before acknowledged history that was intelligent, communicative, and had certain traditions, understandings, geometries that later were handed down after a terrible catastrophe. And that is part of the Templar story in a sense, and the Mason story, even though all of this stuff is very obscure. But what we're going to ask is for Tim and Scott to lift the veil off of whatever we can. There's been a lot made public about their sacred traditions over the years, but there's a lot more interpretation of understanding that why they practice these things. Is that a fairly accurate, either Tim or Scott, whoever wants to go? Maybe you've got better audio, Scott, but tell them that, give a basic feeling. How do you get from Atlantis to a Mason? We got him or not?
Hello, how about now? Oh, here we are. We should close other Riverside.
That's extraordinary, man. So what that is, and I think one reason people think of it this way. You go look at Mesoamerica, there might be ties to that age. You go look at Egypt, there might be ties to that age. You go look at India, ties to that age. And all of those will be elucidated, right? We know that's the Cosmic Summit. But what you forget is, hell, English people like me and Kelly had a Western esoteric tradition. Some of it included in straight out Christianity, of which, of course, the Masons and Templars had much to do with. But even that is kind of the Western tradition that remembers that time.
Yeah.
And I think that's damn important. And I think sometimes people see that kind of stuff and say, well, that's not exotic. That's not India and whatnot. And that's okay. Maybe your thing is India, maybe it's Egypt. But we have these traditions as well. And they need to be discussed, revealed, understood, and interpreted. And these gentlemen are going to do that in a classroom. So we got one classroom with the Templars. And what we're going to do, let Scott, and each classroom is going to be led by somebody, and then they bring in their team, however they want to do it. As you might imagine, another classroom will be Mr. Randall Carlson. Hey, Randall, are you there?
I'm here, George.
Hey, buddy. Sorry it took so long to get to you, particularly the big guy, but it shows that, we're very even-handed at the summit. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Good morning, Randall.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Pleased
I know
to be
my buddy,
here.
old buddy Kelly here is looking forward to meeting you, man.
Well, hearing that, then the feeling is mutual. Looking forward to meeting you, Kelly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randall. It'll be an honor.
George has been telling me a lot of stories about you, Kelly. So I'm sort of, I will be prepared by June. Anyway.
I'm good at unwinding the stories that George tells about folks. So you'll just have to give me a minute to tell you the truth.
Don't worry, Kelly. I didn't believe any of them.
Already.
I didn't believe any of them.
Say again, please.
I said it's okay, Kelly, because I didn't believe any of George's stories.
Okay.
They were far too outlandish.
I knew you were smart, Randall, but you're smarter than I thought you were.
Well, it actually goes back to these days. I mean, we knew each other as teenagers, man. So we'll stop right there, okay?
Okay.
But Randall, we got the best facility, man, and I'm not going to embarrass you with it. I'll let you check it out first, but I've just got that they have a throne here. You know that giant chair that y'all have?
Yes. Would you like to use those?
Yes.
I think we should put them up here. They should be on the stage.
Yes. And then Randall could interview somebody or sit with Johannah. I mean, there's just so many things, but they've got these giant chairs, and I'll post them to the socials later, where, it is the Maharaja. It is the Sultan. It is Randall Carlson style seating.
I'm getting ready to get rid of those. I'm glad you said that. But I'm going to hold on to them for you, George.
That's funny, man. That's funny. I'm so glad I mentioned it. What if you'd thrown them away and I'd say, where are the chairs? I've been picturing it in my head all year. Yeah. So Randall, we're going to have you set up well here, man. It's going to be great. And you're going to get a full day with your team to give all the Randall that they can handle. Okay. And that'll be a separate ticket, folks, and they'll be going on sale. So in other words, you're fine just coming to the Cosmic Summit, and you're going to meet the people and perhaps and hear from some of them, certainly Randall, without buying that third day ticket. But if you buy the third day ticket, you dive all the way in. Okay. And let me get, I feel like we've taken too much of Kelly's time. Yeah.
I'm good. You keep going.
I'll explain the two classrooms and you get ready to show us around just a little bit. Okay. Two more classrooms. So you've got Templar, Tim and Scott, and Haley. I forgot to mention Haley, who I saw for the first time in Sedona last year. And it was a wonderful, wonderful lecture. I mean, she is the most intelligent young person I've met since I met Beckett, who helps out on the conference here.
Sure.
And they're around the same age. And it's like, how in the world did they learn so much in such a short time? I didn't know that much. And I don't want to mischaracterize it, guys. So recast it if you need to. But Haley concentrates on the feminine tradition that is communicated through the symbology, the understandings, the communications of the Templar Masonic thing, that there's a feminine element. Could you elaborate on that maybe a little bit, Scott, if you're on?
Can you hear me at all?
How would you? Yeah, you're there. I hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir,
good.
I can.
Well, you know what? I don't want to give away too much here, but one of the things that has sort of organically morphed out of this research that started with the Kensington runestone for me 23 years ago, 24 almost years ago, is this sacred symbol we call the hooked X. Was a big mystery, and it continues to show up in these new documents that have come forth in this past 12 months that are just mind-blowing. But it turns out that there, in these documents, there was an ancient document, something called the Book of the Wars of the Lord, that was hidden basically from mankind for the last century. And there's a reason why it was hidden. There's two secrets that apparently the powers that be, who were the, I guess you would say, the antagonists in the Templar story, they were trying to hide two things. One is the presence of extraterrestrials, and two is the feminine aspect of the Godhead being on an equal plane with the masculine. In other words, bringing things into balance. And obviously in our society, our worldwide society today, it's largely matriarchal, but one of the big secrets is going way back to earlier traditions that date all the way back to Atlantis, that the feminine aspect was on an equal plane with the masculine. And this was hidden and kept secret, and now it's ready to blossom. And there's nobody better to talk about that who's really studied this in depth and knows it better than anybody, and that's Haley Ramsey. Yep. Well, Johannah carried a big ball last year, so Haley's going to help you out, Johannah.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are having technical difficulties. So, how was everyone's Christmas?
It was wonderful.
Well, I'll tell a very brief story.
Go for it, Randall.
On Christmas Eve, or the day before Christmas, I was doing some last-minute shopping. I was walking out of the grocery store, and the security guard looks at me and goes, "I've been a good boy this year. I hope you're bringing me a lot of presents." And I said, "Well, sorry, you're out of luck this year. I just couldn't stand the cold of the North Pole anymore, and I've retired, and I'm on my way to Florida. So no more Santa." And he was very disappointed.
You ruined that poor kid's Christmas.
I did. I ruined his Christmas.
The same thing happened to me, Randall. So weird.
You were mistaken for Santa?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah, well, I noticed I wasn't going to say anything that
I
you
know.
were...
It's getting the chin hairs are coming through this year, really.
Oh, really?
Well, George. Well, there we are. Oh, bless George. He was so excited to present today. But it's going to be awesome. So who so far has said what they're going to do? What they're going to speak about? We have.
I think myself, Adam, Scott, and if I'm forgetting anybody, a few of us have talked.
Nice.
I tried since 10 o'clock. I had to download 3 different programs just to connect.
Oh, bless you, Ken. You came a long way around.
Yeah, too bad if it was Zoom, we'd have no problem, but
I know. What?
Oh, well.
I ran into the same thing, Ken. It took me a long circuitous route to finally get in, about 15 minutes worth of trying to navigate my way through this and that.
Yeah, for me it was almost an hour, but thanks to Marc finally gave me a program to load in.
Oh, we're getting some questions about Praveen. What are you going to talk about? Have you narrowed it down? Have you made your mind up? I was going to actually ask you because I didn't want to overlap with you on anything.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I have no idea what I'm going to talk about.
Great.
If you guys want me to talk about ancient technology, I could do that because that's what I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a variety of topics, like how the ancient sites in India were constructed. We can talk about engineering. We can talk about like medical technology, how advanced the ancient people were. You know what kind of stuff they were doing, etc.
Hello.
But
hey.
I really haven't made up my mind. So I'm completely new to this, right? So I haven't.
It's a surprise.
Yeah.
Hey, can you all hear us again?
Yes.
Yeah, George. Welcome
Hey,
back.
I can see you a little bit better, and sorry for the tech glitches. They've actually been kind of minimized, but one thing I couldn't see is who was necessarily coming in, and it's great to see you guys. Hey, Praveen, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Thank you. I know it is very early in the morning over there, or no, excuse me, it's about 11 o'clock at night, or 10?
Yeah, it's about 10:30.
Yeah, our buddy Marc Young, another speaker, he got the short end of the global stick, as he always seems to in Australia. And if he's still hanging in there, he's still hanging in there. Hey, Marc. It's 2:30 in the morning or something like that for him. And but thank you, Praveen. And I tell you, I just got to brag about your country. I had a wonderful time.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just got back from there, Beckett, 2 weeks ago? Not even that. Yeah,
Well,
and
glad you liked it.
and we didn't have but a couple of weeks warning, and we went over there to, or at least until we committed, and we went to Aurangabad, right? The 8th largest city in India. Aurangabad.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was hoping it was nearby some of your temples, and I never was able to completely search if I wasn't, but I think only the step well maybe you've been to. But it was a hell of an experience, man. And we met a lot of great people. We went to a 75,000 person technology conference, and that country is on fire. There were no Americans there, no Europeans, and high tech manufacturing. Like, it was really cool.
Wow.
I mean, the CNC machines, all the things. Actually, funny enough, that Adam Young and the vase team are dealing with, there's kind of two sides to the machinery they were showing in broad sense. They were either things that made things or things that measured things.
Yeah, right.
And they were using the same, showing off and trying to sell the same measurement equipment there in India that Adam is using to measure the vases, which I thought was kind of coincidental. In fact, some of those laser measurement people, I showed them Uncharted X and said, hey, y'all should sponsor a laser or something. But Praveen, you are a great man, because you didn't know this crowd, the Cosmic Summit. We all knew you because we like YouTube and ancient history and alternative understanding. So I don't think there's, look at Johannah lifting her finger up. She was a Praveen fan, right? And I was a Praveen fan. And that's the cool thing about these conferences, particularly when you're a host, is you're like, well, let's try to get Praveen. And Praveen emails back, and he's coming. He didn't ask me any questions, and is going to fly. And I know what it means to make that flight now. That's ugly.
That's a real flight.
Yeah, 31 hours of travel, you know. And and then I missed my flight in New Delhi. Okay. But Praveen's going to be joining us from India, and he's got almost 3 million YouTube followers. And if you hadn't gone and seen his channel yet, and you were into things like Egypt and Mesoamerica, but you hadn't checked out India, you got a lot of fun YouTube coming.
I'll bet.
Right? Because Praveen has opened it up as well. He doesn't even have a second. You know, the Egyptology, there are half dozen people, as there well should be, and there should be a half dozen Praveens. There should be 100 Praveens. But for a country with 1.3 billion people and probably 5,000 ancient history sites spanning 8,000 years, there's one guy out there telling the truth about it all. And he's going to be at the Cosmic Summit.
Fantastic.
Yes. And hopefully some of his 3 million followers will come to the Cosmic Summit. And hopefully some of them will buy an Anunnaki ticket. And they're going to sit right down with Praveen.
Next to me.
And Kelly. While Randall, I can't figure out whether Randall gives the Anunnaki a foot rub or the Anunnaki give Randall a foot rub. Which would you say, Randall?
Well, I think that depends on the identity of these Anunnaki. Who rubs whose feet?
Whose feet you will rub, others who you will not.
That's correct. I'm very discriminating
am I right that
in
you will
whose feet
take
I
a
rub.
You'll take a foot rub from anyone, though, right?
Not just anyone. Not necessarily somebody who comes in off the street. No.
Okay. Well, see, this is going to be you got to keep a little suspense. How's this foot rub thing going to end up? Hey, Johannah, I just wanted to say, hey, how are you doing?
There we are. I'm doing very well, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's we're in the weird time between Christmas and New Year where I'm like, what day is it? What's the time? I don't even know. But but yeah, New Year's coming, and it's just the long road to the Cosmic Summit, and I'm very excited.
That's great. Did you have Christmas with your family?
I do. Yeah, at home. Christmas at home. Yeah. It was brilliant. Ate awesome. A lot, and just getting ready for next year.
Christmassy place over there, London.
It is. London. It's all twinkly.
I mean, it is, man. And I was there just in time to see a little bit of that, because we visited Johannah. I've been doing a lot of traveling this year. And for a guy my travel used to be going to Houston and New Orleans for business, 20 times a year and stuff. And now it's turned into this last minute, globe galloping. But one of the globe gallops, we did these 3 demonstrations. So you had overseas Zurich and India, and of course I went to Turkey earlier in the year with the Snake Brothers. But I also carved out one and went over and saw Malcolm Bindall's machine that is hooked to the grid there. And Johannah looked into it. She's got a hell of a video on plasma technology that describes our trip and what we did while we were over there, and we filmed it all.
Yeah.
Because to his damn credit, anything Malcolm does or says is welcome to be filmed, which is kind of unusual for an inventor.
Yep.
And I wanted to point out, I don't think I finished my thought earlier, that Malcolm's going to have a classroom, but he's also going to have a working device. So I think I did say that. So people are welcome to throw tomatoes at it or lay down, get down and bow to it or whatever it is. But we're going to have a real device and people will be able to get their hands on it. Okay, now I want to switch to the fourth classroom, which is going to be interesting. Okay, the fourth classroom, said in the word, is UFOs. Okay. The risk, Kelly, with UFOs, and you know about conference branding and things like that.
Sure.
First of all, in our kind of studies, you don't want to have multiple crazy opinions at once because you only dilute yourself. Okay. So if we were having a conference concerned with ancient high technologies and catastrophe, UFOs is fun, but is it really right on? Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, in just the last couple of years, there's more and more talk about, is there a relation to that catastrophe? Were there people before that catastrophe that perhaps left temporarily or non-temporarily? And I know Randall can speak to that some, right? We don't need to get into it right now, but Randall, you think there could have been what's called a breakaway civilization?
Yes, I do. I think that comes out pretty strongly through a lot of the traditions when you look at them through that lens.
That's right. And here's another. So you don't want to shoehorn in an appropriate subject. I think the shoe fits well enough. But here's another problem with doing that kind of stuff. There are already a bunch of great UFO conferences.
Sure.
So you're not going to be the new UFO conference.
No, we actually hosted MUFON here.
Did you really?
Sure did. In fact, it's been 12, 15 years ago.
Hey,
they were
real
here.
Quick, because I want to miss this. Who else have you hosted? Knock some.
Oh, there have been just so many, multiple conferences that have come through here of every size, national associations, regional, huge basketball teams.
Celebrities and stuff. How many presidents have you had on the stage that Johannah James is going to lead? She's our MC. So how many presidents have shared this stage?
We have hosted at this hotel every single president since Richard and Milhouse Nixon.
How about that?
Except for Obama, but it wasn't his fault. He was supposed to be here. And they had a bad thunderstorm. He couldn't fly in, and they had to cancel it. But and as a matter of fact, we just had Donald Trump here on this stage 6 months ago for the North Carolina GOP.
That's right.
He stood right where you and I are sitting.
Yeah. And if you want to go see some of the videos so you can see how the stage can get done up and what a beautiful venue it is, you just type orange-headed man Greensboro. Okay? Orange-headed man Greensboro. And that will bring up Donald Trump on this stage 6 months ago. So if you come to Central North Carolina, you want to be two places around here, either on this stage or up the street about a mile and a half, right?
Sure.
And what's up there, Kelly? Just because that might be in our future. Who knows?
Yeah, Greensboro Coliseum Complex is an amazing complex. I mean, it's a 23,000 seat arena with about 1 million square feet of space around it, and lots of opportunity to do other things. If 2 years from now, this could take the lower arena, in 5 years, you might take the whole thing.
Well, that's impressive to hear Kelly say it because he's been very influential in the growth of the Greensboro Coliseum. And it is a big, big city auditorium in a medium-sized city.
Correct.
And I'll go ahead and embarrass him a bit. It is a well-known fact in Greensboro that the Coliseum retains a lot of business partially because of this complex, because they're symbiotic to an extent.
They are symbiotic, right?
Yeah.
We share business between the two of us. One attracts an event that is more arena-based.
Yep.
We attract more things that are meeting-based.
Yeah.
And we share those commonalities between us.
Yeah. And so a lot of bands have been up there that came through here.
Sure, a lot of bands.
A lot of bands? Give me one or two.
You would just want to know the ones that threw the TVs out the window?
And that's always where you start. That's always where you start with a hotelier who's hosted bands.
Walsh throwing the TV off the 5th floor. No.
Okay. I guess Elvis was a little young. You remember he used to come to the Coliseum.
Yeah, Elvis stayed here.
Did Elvis stay?
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce Springsteen's played on our, we've got a disco here, George.
We hadn't talked about the disco.
Yeah, we've got a disco that holds 1,000 people, and it looks like something you stepped into back in the 80s, because we literally left it intact the way it was, knowing that 20 years, 30 years later, it would come back around.
Man, that is so cool. And it's one of the favorite things about the conference. And I brag with the speakers all the time. And we're going to start bragging even more to the internet. You can see the photos on the Cosmic Summit website. But again, remember, this is a privately owned place. It was subject to the passions of the owner. And
Correct.
at some point, Joe Koury said, disco's big. I got the big hotel. I want a big disco.
It was the hottest nightclub on the East Coast, literally between D.C. and Atlanta, we kind of say, for 30 years.
I faked being 18 in it.
I think half of Greensboro did.
Yep. I sure as hell faked being 18 years old in that disco. And it actually holds our sweet spot. You can get, close to 1,000 people in it. So if we're lucky and are blessed to have that many attendees, we're going to have a party. Well, we don't even have to have that many. If we have 100,
sure, we're
going to have a party in that disco Friday night like you ain't never seen before. Okay? It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's actually, I don't mean to, put people in a hierarchy, but the club actually is conveniently split into 3 parts, like one level that is big, level 2 above, which is smaller, and level 3 above. And obviously that matches up well with the megafauna, the taurids, and the Anunnaki. UFO room, real quick, just to finish up there. So you're like, who's going to be in the UFO room, George? Well, this is a case where I've got 3 or 4 very close. Maybe I'll say one of them's name and embarrass them and say they're invited, and hopefully they'll come. But we got one pretty big fish on, and I don't know if you've heard of him yet, but he was on Danny Jones' podcast, who follows a lot of our issues. He's actually on Fox News at 2:00 today, and he could be on the call. Is Chris Bledsoe on the call? Did he ever come on? That's okay. Well, and I didn't mean to burn the name there, but it's Mr. Chris Bledsoe of Fayetteville, North Carolina, who, I mean, it's kind of funny to rank people on this kind of stuff, but he's kind of the most significant UFO experiencer in the world right now. And he's doing a Fox News interview at 2:00 this afternoon. He and his family, we got an issue loading the page. Did we go down again? Okay. You still seeing us and hearing us? Hello. I can't see them. You got to hit refresh.
Oh, George is out again. Now,
1 minute,
big question.
Got it.
Are we still doing a
When you're
fancy
ready.
dress disco?
What's that, Johannah?
Oh, I was just asking while you're out. Are we still doing a fancy dress disco on the Friday night? Very important to know.
Yes, I haven't chosen the costumery yet. It has to be something,
Because I have to make my costume.
You got. I know, and you will have a fantastic costume. I can't wait to see, man. That's going to be
Absolutely.
fun.
Queen of Atlantis coming in.
Yeah, no. It's going to be wild. And here's some other things, and this kind of gets down to, we're 6 months out, and you can't do everything. And Beck and I got pulled out big time for these trips overseas. One thing that we're getting on here right away is we're going to get some big talent in that disco. We're going to find somebody to do a comedy hour or so, okay? And I'll tell you who I'm inviting. I wish it's one of the things I meant to do this weekend and then ask y'all to bug him on Twitter, so I can't do that because I didn't invite him. But I'd like Duncan Trussell, who's a very, very frequent guest and one of Joe Rogan's best friends. And if you go look at him, you can see why it kind of fits. But Duncan loves these kind of subjects, and I'm going to reach out to him and see whether he'll do us a solid and come to Greensboro. I know it'll be treated well. So that will be the disco night. We're also having the Cosmopolitan, as sponsored by Social House Vodka. I should have brought up already, but they're our friends down in Kinston, North Carolina, and the largest and first vodka distillery in the fine state of North Carolina. And it's a wonderful story. They went and rehabbed an old building in Kinston that needed the help.
Yeah.
They put a lot more money into that business than they needed to just to make damn liquor, right? They tried to do something and are doing something for one of the small eastern North Carolina towns. And they're throwing their weight behind this, and we are going to have a lot of fun. And they have a special cocktail that we're calling the Cosmopolitan. And I tell you, Chris Cottrell had a good suggestion yesterday evening. What was it, Chris? You called the disco. Yeah, it's the Cosmotech.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
On Friday night. Okay, so that means you roll into town, you get settled, blah, blah, blah. Boom, disco party on Friday night. Okay, no sitting in chairs anywhere, listening to anything. Okay, but then Saturday night. So then we have a full day, a couple of tracks going on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we're going to have 2 bands. First band's going to be the double in-house band, deep in-house, speakers only, okay? And believe it or not, we can piece one together. Dr. Ken Tankersley, I hadn't said hey to you, but you are a band member. What do you play? You're muted, Ken. Sorry to surprise you. What does Ken play? Do you know? Remember, Beckett?
I think he plays
Anybody
the
else
guitar.
remember? I don't know, but you got
I think he plays the
Randall
guitar.
on the drums.
I'll do the triangle.
You do the triangle. I want the washboard, like on, yeah.
Bring it in, and I'll give it a go.
Yeah, and so you got Randall, then you got Russ and Kyle actually, we'll get to that in a moment, has his own band, the Snake Brothers, and then Dr. Tankersley, and then also Ben Van Kerkwick. And they do a good job. It's heavy and appropriately so on percussion, right? Because Randall is an excellent bongo man. I mean, no surprise there, right?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, it just fits him like a glove, but he's a great bongo guy. So we're going to do that.
Darbuka. Let's be clear. Darbuka.
Darbuka. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Different.
So we got a
And a little
Darbuka.
djembe and a few other things, but
Yeah, man. Okay, so you have, the Cosmic Summit Band hour, and then we're bringing on stage, which is kind of our theme music, Kyle Allen and $50 Dynasty, his band down in Texas, who are absolutely killer, man. They're the next Pink Floyd. It's cool as shit. And their music was written as inspired by our subjects.
How about that?
And all the study that they have done on the Brothers of the Serpent podcast. Then Kyle comes out with a beautiful album, man. And I would never compliment anybody's music unless I really believed it. Because you can put you in weird places sometimes.
Sure.
I remember the first time I heard Kyle's album, I was like, damn, I hope it's good. Because I'm going to have to fake it if not. And we were out in Sedona, and I listened to the whole, I said, man, that is
Good stuff.
That's good music.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to come on Saturday night. And then Sunday, some people are going to leave, and some are going to stay for Monday. Okay? And back to, I don't think I quite finished with the UFO. Chris Bledsoe is from Fayetteville. He is being visited regularly by entities and has been since 2007. And it's an incredible story, which he's going to tell in detail. It involves his entire family, and his family are experiencers. And they went through a special kind of hell in their community that comes with saying, hey, we saw a bunch of UFOs and they're still visiting. You're a North Carolinian. There's some places out there. They're wonderful places, but I wouldn't want to be the UFO guy.
Probably not.
You know what I mean? No, hell, I wouldn't want to be the UFO guy in a lot of places.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But his whole family came forward and in varying degrees have been experiencing this stuff for 15 years, but somebody who took them very seriously was the U.S. government. And they've been in touch with the government that entire time, and all of that is well documented, and it makes for a fascinating story. And I think it's particularly interesting since he's right down the road. He's less than an hour from us. We are also extending an invitation to Diane Pasolka, Dr. Pasolka at UNCW, who has the #1 UFO book out right now and had the other #1 UFO book before that one.
Wow.
And what she does is study the phenomena through the lens of religion. And exactly who were those angels? What was Ezekiel doing in that wheel? and that kind of stuff, to put it very lightly, because she is a true scholar and has done scholarly work. In the course of her scholarly religious studies analysis of the phenomena, she became a believer, which is tough for an academic. You're like, what did it? But she's also intellectually honest. She says this stuff happens. So we hope to get down. I don't mean to talk her up too much if I can't deliver, but it's just been a communication thing, but she knows of us and we should hear soon. And then we got some incredible potential UFO people coming, and I just don't even want to. I'm working on it now. And the idea here is that, who knows? Maybe if that is a runaway success at that classroom, maybe we have kind of another conference here and do something on UFOs from time to time. Kelly, I want to let you get out of here. We're going to get down to kind of maybe another 30 minutes of shop talk. Do you say, Beckett? And that kind of, not by shop talk, I mean with an audience. But Kelly's got a full day and a family to get down to the coast. But what we're going to do is do a walkabout for just a minute. Okay, so forgive us any tech glitches, but we're going to try to switch over to Beckett's cell phone and show you the rest of the room. And Kelly's going to talk about it, and then he is going to walk out of his 28-story hotel. You got a switch? Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, George, first of all, thank you again for this opportunity to be able to host.
Yeah.
It's an amazing opportunity for all of us here. We're excited about everyone being here. Just as a last minute kind of pitch for the property, just so that you're aware, in Greensboro, Greensboro is a lovely community, sandwiched right between Raleigh and Charlotte. Very, very easy to get to. You have choices of places to fly in. Raleigh, you can fly in about 50 minutes away. Charlotte's about 100 or about an hour and 15 minutes away. Greensboro has a wonderful airport with lots of directs, and it's 10 minutes from the hotel.
Yeah.
But you've got everything under one roof: rooms, meeting space, restaurant, bars, next to a 200-store mall, complimentary parking for everyone.
Yeah.
Right here at your property, right off Interstate 40. So easy to get to. We have a great room rate of $179 for our guests, whether it's a king or a double.
$10 off last year.
Yeah, right.
So facilities got an order of magnitude better. Room price went down, man.
That's
I'm
right.
proud of that.
And 10 minutes away from here are our sister property, the Grandover Resort. 2 championship golf courses there, tennis facilities, incredible restaurant, great
gorgeous hotel,
art galleries, just a great spa. So if you've got any free time, downtown Greensboro is a wonderful community that they've kept intact from our heyday as textiles, a lot of old buildings, that sort of thing. Great bars and restaurants, great place to visit. So we're just excited for everybody to come to Greensboro. We're going to take really good care of you. Our staff here at the Sheraton Koury Convention Center is one of the most tenured staff of hotels I know of. We have people that have been with us 30 and 40 years. They know how to take care of our guests, and we're really looking forward to working with you, and we can't wait for you to be here.
Man, I am so sincerely fired up, and thank you.
We are too. You're so welcome.
No, it's going to be really, really cool. And I'll just say, we were blessed to have the opportunity to use this space in the state that I knew I wanted to host the thing in,
Well, Joe Koury was an amazing guy, and he had a dream, and he built it right here in Greensboro, and it's fun to share it with people.
It's a fabulous legacy, man. And I tell you, the hotel that Kelly's referring to is kind of the luxury hotel,
correct,
if you will, and it's just a couple of miles away. And it deserves better almost. Like, it's incredible. You think it would be up in the mountains or whatever, but it's luxury available here, on the highways. And let me point out, Greensboro is arguably the easiest place to drive to by average.
It is.
On the East Coast.
7 major highways come in here.
7 major highways, and we had a lot of drivers last year. I mean, it surprised me. People were hopping in the car from Michigan and Ohio, and I think somebody drove from California. But in the East Coast, as an average matter, you can't get an easier place to
both 40 and 85 cross in Greensboro. 73 coming all the way out of Ohio, 73, 74.
I routed
coming down that way through 77. Interstate, 421 to Interstate 220. And then I-95 is only right there on the other side of Raleigh, which brings everybody on the East Coast.
Which is 8 lanes to it.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So easy to get to.
Man, It's a great facility and a great man here that's going to be hosting us soon. Let's have him walk us out.
Nice to meet everybody. Looking forward to having you all with us here in a few months. Happy holidays to each of you.
Okay, let's look around. Did it switch? We're hoping for the best here. There I am. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
No?
There's a reverb that's kind of cool. It's a vibe.
Yeah. It's cosmic summit. Can they see?
Yes, they're here.
Okay, there's Kelly. Okay, now we're going to do the big reveal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's big.
40,000 square feet, 26 and to 32-foot ceilings, divisible by 8 different sections. State-of-the-art AV already built into the facility with screens. Just a great facility to be able to host the Cosmic Summit. So many features that are already built into it, so it makes it really, really easy. It's kind of a plug-and-play room, if you would. So, and just outside the doorways and the walls are our lobby. Breakout rooms go all the way around the building. A Broadway-sized stage, which is a 40-foot front section with almost a 26-foot persimmon as well. So you've got great opportunities to build an amazing stage here, George.
Well, we're going to.
Johanna's heading out.
Bye-bye, Johannah.
Bye, Johannah.
Sorry, I've got dinner. I'm so sorry.
No, it's
Bye,
just
Johannah.
fine. It's just
We'll
fine. If
catch you
anybody
on the
else
next
needs to
meet.
stop, it's fine. But we're going to hang around for a few minutes. We're going to let Kelly go, and I'm going to try. I bet it'll hold the cell. Let's go take a look in the classroom. Right?
Yeah. Walk right out those doors and go into the auditorium.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you.
Great. Bye, everybody.
Okay.
So long,
see you
Kelly.
Okay. We holding the signal?
Yep.
Okay. So somebody told me earlier from the hotel, this is a 1-acre room. And I used to be in the land business. I'm like, wow, that's a good representation of an acre. You always hear what an acre is.
Yeah.
And I kind of do it.
43,560 square feet, George.
Hey, good point, Randall. You might even want to bring that up in your talk and talk about
Well,
how
I'm going to
the
bring a
acre-
measuring tape with me and double
Yes.
check this.
Yes, and I'll bring a watch. Okay?
Okay.
Because time, space, and cosmology and numbers and temperature and everything is completely linked. And people
Wow.
don't know it yet. But in coming years in the Cosmic Summit, we're going to get sacred geometry across to everybody. It's something I thought I went into sacred geometry because it sounded like math mixed with church, right? Which is just not an attractive mix to me necessarily. And then I heard Randall talk in Sedona 2 years ago, and I listened to a whole sacred geometry thing. Now, I'd heard a lot of Randall before, right? And I love Randall's talk, but I kind of, didn't pay attention to the sacred geometry stuff. Then I heard that talk, and I was like, holy shit. And it all comes together. I can't believe there's not worldwide movements to reveal this information. You think there'd be cults built around it. I mean,
Let me
it's
throw
just,
one
it's kind of
quick
interesting
fact
how
out,
that-
George. Let me throw one quick fact out
Please.
since you're talking acres. Okay, so you got 43,560 square feet forms an acre, right? Okay, so if we take the square root of that, we get 208.7 linear feet being the side of a square acre. If you multiply that by 100,000, you're almost dead on to the polar radius of the Earth. So the side, by whatever weird coincidence, and I'm not maintaining it's anything more than a coincidence, the side of 1 square acre is 1/100,000th the polar radius of the Earth. So,
hold on. So you're saying from that corner to that
well,
corner?
now I don't know if this is a square acre.
Let's say it. Yeah. Well, I think it is an exact square.
Okay. I'm bringing my 150-foot fiberglass tape, George, and we're gonna check this out. We're gonna see.
Yeah, we are. And you know what I do? I should have mentioned this earlier, just to tout family way. My first cousin, David Howard, built all of this.
Really?
And he worked for the Courys for probably 15 years and built the 28-story hotel and was their in-house construction person, and which was quite a job because there's been a lot built around here. The whole neighborhood, has residential and office space, and then of course, gigantic is the biggest mall in North Carolina, and then this giant hotel. And David Howard built all that stuff for a lot of years. So I've actually got a direct family connection to this wonderful facility. Let's go look at some more of it. The grand doors everywhere; those are particularly grand. Now this is going out the side. This is not the grand entrance. This is kind of okay. The classrooms where you're getting down and dirty, when you're diving deep, okay? You come over here. This is for the intellectuals.
I think we just got locked out.
Julie, he's kind of giving us a little tour that you're going to go on.
Okay, Randall. If you didn't give all the Randall you can handle, you deserve a proper setting. We can't get it up there. Damn. Well, that was predictable. You can see pictures of the classrooms on the website at cosmicsummit.com. They're classic lecture halls for a university, kind of unusual to find in a hotel, but they're amphitheater style halls that fit about 220 people. There'll be a separate ticket for each of those days. So anybody that wants can stay that extra day. And I think Sunday would be a good day to kind of rest and relax, right? And yeah, like Kelly's saying, say that evening we don't have anything planned, it'd be a good time to like go up to the spa or eat at a different restaurant in town, see downtown Greensboro, things like that. But since we're now locked out of the room that y'all got a good view of, and I guess we'll have to cut the cut the talk after we end our walk. We'll walk around to the front and show you the atrium, I guess you would call it, and the beginning of the lobby. Look how nice and Christmassy. Great time of year to show off a hotel, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Big photos everywhere. They do on-site Starbucks. Don't find that at the Motel 6. Nice big hotel shop. Great sandwich, snack restaurant over there. Bar number 1, and there's bar number 2, bar number 3. And then there's a giant steakhouse on the other side. So there's a great place for people to go out to dinner, high-class meal at the hotel. And then over there is the biggest mall in North Carolina, and there are a bunch of restaurants in there. But we're also going to be serving food in there, okay? And that'll be at least 2 lunches and a dinner, okay? And then for Monday, we're probably going to do food trucks or something like that. Here's the Guilford Ballroom. And just the... Things keep getting locked after they get open. That's fine. They've seen it. Beckett, how do we handle the call from here?
We need to get in here and I have to end the stream. Ask him if he'll...
Hey, sir? Yeah. Cinema Verte. Isn't that what they call it? This is reality. Take your time.
Now you guys get the full picture. Behind the scenes look.
Yeah, leave it. And then hey, Sam, this man, my friend, he's taking me all over this hotel. I have seen every single thing of it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, let's close it out. Say goodbye to the speakers and everybody.
Thanks, everybody. What speakers? What some thoughts? Anything going on in your life or your work that might be interested in closing? Praveen, where are you going next in India? I hate surprising people.
I don't think Praveen's still on.
Did we lose Praveen?
Yeah.
Who haven't I talked to that you
Battery
see on
died. We
Hi,
talked to
George.
Chris at the beginning. Oh, Kenneth. Here's Dr. Tankersley.
Yeah,
Hey, Ken, how you doing, man?
Well, it took me an hour to download 3 different software so I could connect. So thanks to Marc, I was able to finally get on.
Well,
But
everybody should have a web browser.
yeah, I'll have a great program for you. I'm going to be talking about how the juxtaposition between catastrophic volcanism and catastrophic airburst events. And I'll be using examples from my research in Tikal in Guatemala, the most famous Maya site, as well as Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, and of course, all the younger Dryas sites.
That's awesome, Ken. And I tell you, I got 2 words for you on volcanism and airbursts. Look up the timing between Talalamam and Santorini. They arguably happened at the same time.
Well, there's an interesting correlation geologically. After an airburst, an impact to the Earth, it causes a change, which eventually leads to volcanism.
Mm-hmm. But aren't I muted? I'm sorry. Hold on. Beckett's got to hold it. I need to excuse myself for just a moment. Beckett, turn to some of the other speakers. This is what,
Okay. Ken, I missed what you said, but if you want to tell the folks here, looks like we've got 29 people left on the stream watching. So if anybody wants to share what it is that you're working on or anything about your presentation, what to expect, you are welcome to. If not, then we'll close out in this giant 1-acre room. Clay wants to hear it. Chris, what are you gonna be covering? Awesome. Sweet.
It takes 5 minutes just to walk through this damn place, man. Who'd we hear from?
Chris just told us what he's going to be covering this year.
Anybody else? I'd like to hear from anybody that's prepared to kind of give us a preview of their talk.
Yeah, I can give a quick preview.
Yeah, give a quick preview, Marc, and then we'll let everybody go.
I'm going to be doing somewhat of a deep dive into the magnetic microspherules, their properties, how they form during an impact and such. And I'm going to be getting into the latest work we've been doing on the YDIH with shocked quartz.
Nice.
And also some of the airburst modeling we've been doing. It's revealed some interesting stuff. So
man, that's fantastic, Marc. And you're holding down the academic side. That's all. There's no speculation involved there. And if there is speculation, Marc's going to let you know, hey, here's what I think. But I got a feeling a lot of it is, here's what I see. Here's what is. You figure it out. Our interpretation would be that it's cosmic. So Marc is a critical member of the Comet Research Group and part of kind of the younger team as other folks, get a little bit older. But Marc, I can't wait to see you. It's a long flight for you. You got some company in Jordan Collins. He's going to be joining, and he's going to be Jordan Collin. And actually, He has a YouTube page people should check out called Alchemical Science to get a feeling for Jordan. And he's going to be speaking with Malcolm Bendall that day and Bob Grenier. Remember, go to Bob Grenier Memorial, Martin Fleischman Memorial Project. And folks, look into those people if you hadn't heard of them yet and see whether you want to buy that classroom day on breakthrough energy, where you'll actually see the device tested in front of you. So that's terrific, Marc. Cannot wait to see you again this year. And you know what, buddy? I've got my new Comet research group not sticker, what am I trying to say? Patch that you gave me. Put on a nice new thing. So your mother, last year, Marc came to the conference. He brought a patch that his mother had embroidered herself. I just got it put on some winter wear and it just looks killer. It makes me look real official. I just want to thank your mom for that. Okay, Beckett, do we have any other program notes? Okay.
Atlantean tickets are closing.
The Atlantean tickets are closing. You can get a Rolex experience for a Timex cost here, folks.
And the rest of them open up.
Before the rest of them open up. Okay? Thank you so much for sticking with me. These things are informal, and we proved that once again. But I think it turned out pretty good. I think Kelly, y'all can see what an interesting and great host will be. And I think a lot of the people on here knew, how wonderful the speakers are. So we've got the place, we've got the people, and we've got June 15th, 16th, and 17th this year to hang out and learn a lot about our world. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you in June. Happy New Year.